Hey, I finally got a PR 3x3 average on video. Okay, I know that all of you just want to see the solves, so I'm going to make this really quick. Here are the last 4 solves, the solves I have on video for my 731 PR average, and then after each one I'm going to reconstruct it. I didn't record these, so thank you very much to Reed for recording these and then sending me the videos. So here we go. So on this scramble, I ended up choosing to do a yellow cross, and I've got my edges for that here, 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 and here. And there is a pretty intuitive solution here that does all of that pretty quickly. I know that if I do a U prime from here, then it sets up sort of a chain reaction with solving this edge and then this one and this one. Doing U prime means I can solve this with L, then this with F prime, this with R prime, and it moved this into a really nice position. But that isn't quite everything I did. I also noticed this edge and this corner and decided not exactly to set them up, but to keep them both in the top layer for a good first pair. So when I did that, instead of just doing R prime, I did U prime R prime to keep that there. So then I could do D, L, and I'm done with my cross, and I've got an easy first pair. So I start going into that, and the correct thing to do is L prime U2L into inserting. But that's not what I did. Instead, by mistake, I don't know exactly how, I only did U prime and not U2. And then everything's messed up. The pair didn't solve itself. I'm back at 0. But I pretty quickly see this pair and go straight into it. And then I see this, which I will be able to go straight into afterwards. So I solve this. And pretty quickly, I know I can connect these like that. And I saw this corner go down here. So that when I cube rotate and insert this, I find my edge and I can go straight into that afterwards. Double back sexy. And eventually, somehow I figure out the edge is back here. And I can go into this insert like that. Then I've got a really nice OLL. I didn't exactly look at CP, but generally when you have these big blocks, either you're going to get a skip, a J-perm, or an N-perm, so it's a pretty decent mix of luck levels there. So I do my OLL, and it turns out it's a J-perm, so I do that, not U2. U2 prime, go straight into my J-perm, and finished off a lot stronger than I started.
John, 7.
On this scramble, I chose to do a white cross, and things generally on this scramble lend themselves pretty well to solving on opposites. That is because I start off with this edge one move away from being solved on opposites, and this edge one move away from being solved on opposites. My other two are right here, and we're gonna make these work as well. So, the first thing I did to solve this and this on opposites are move it over, solve this, and then solve this. That didn't move this and set this up pretty well, and it moved this pair that I'd been tracking right up to the top layer. So now I do R2, and then insert this, because that puts the corner down and then moves it back up, and then D2, and I can go straight into the first pair that I had been tracking and predicting. So I solved that, and there's a pretty easy second pair here. So I did U prime and connect it, and this is where I did one of the smartest things I've done in an official solve in a while. So I've got this pair, and then I've got this pair as well. And I was looking ahead, I knew I had this pair. If I just insert this, then I get this pair, and I have to start off with a solution that takes out this pair again. So instead of just inserting it, I did this pair first, and then went straight into that. And that was a whole lot more efficient, and then gives me an easy last pair, which I solved just like that. Another easy OLL, the same one as the last solve. And this time a GD perm. Super easy, just an overall really clean solve.
Brian Johnson.
664.
664. Ellery.
Now this scramble is really nice. Now I've got this edge, and I've got this. There's actually also this, now that I look at it. I didn't even think about doing this X cross. What I thought about is taking this block, which, if I solve like that, makes a really easy block, trying to turn that into an X cross. The real challenge for me was how I was going to deal with this stuff while doing that. And what I ended up coming up with is, I'm going to solve this blue one first, because then I can do D, which I need to do for this anyway, and it will be in the back across from the green edge, which is where it needs to be. So I do R2, D, doing F prime, R prime will solve this, but if I do U2, it'll solve the edge that I need to solve. So I did that, and then all I need to do from there is fix this edge. And so I just did that with D2, R2, D, and I've got my really nice X cross. Now, unfortunately, I did not do the best job of like figuring out what was going to happen after that, but I got lucky. There's a free pair right here. So I cube rotate, solve my free pair, and then cube rotate back. And once again, I'm at one of those beautiful points where all my edges are oriented, at least for F2L, and I can just RU 2-gen spam in order to finish my F2L. Started off with this pair, and I can immediately go into that pair, like that, blazing fast F2L, and then a decent OLL at the very least, and then a JB perm. So I did that. There's going to be no AUF, and really unfortunately I locked up a little bit at the beginning of this J perm in the actual solve. Without that lockup, this could have easily been a 6.2 or a 6.3. Instead, it was a 664, and doing 664 in 51 moves, that was how long the solution was, gives me 7.68 turns per second.
James, 10. Ooh. Good job.
Yeah.
On this solve, I employed a special technique called just trying things out and having them somehow work. So, I've got what seems like a pretty easy cross here on white with these 4 cross edges, these 2 already one move away from being solved. But for the life of me, I was really struggling to find a good first pair. And in the end, I ended up picking this blue and orange in a really weird way. You'll see. So I started off kind of from this angle, did wide R to solve this, solved green with R prime, solved this like that, and I knew that this edge would be here and it's going to end up right here when I do U, and solve that in the back. So in all that time, the pair that I predicted in inspection was this one right here, and the solution for it is doing that, cube rotating, and solving it. That is whack, to put it in academic terms. Yet somehow it ended up working out. So I solved this, and I've got a really easy second pair right there. Really nice third pair, so I solved that, and then all of a sudden my fourth pair appears. And I just have to solve that in the back left, like that. And at this point in the actual solve, I was thinking, there's no way that was fast enough to be anything good. There's no way. But I've already got a pretty safe, secure, guaranteed sub 8 average, so I wasn't too worried. I've got a COLL, so I do that. And then I've got my backwards U-perm already lined up. Started off a little bit locky, but ended up working out. And somehow, by some miracle, that gave me a 728. So that was another really long solution. It was 68 moves because mainly of that COLL. but doing that in 7.28 seconds gives me a really nice 9.34 turns per second. So even though there were some visible ups and downs in that average, overall it was not just the fastest set of solves I've ever done in competition, but also the most solid. Some examples of very good look ahead, some really smart decision making, everything that I'd want in an average, not to mention that it was my first ever pure sub-8 average. And there's just enough visible room for improvement in there that I can very definitively say that sub-7 is possible for me right now. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment, all that stuff. I'll see you guys later, and I hope you have a great day. This is Brody, signing out.